Hey, Joanna. Hey, Caleb. Hey, Megan. Pavel, Ashley, Nick, Jed. Look at all you 8th graders coming on for study skills. 7th graders, this is old hat for you. 8th graders, this is new for you guys. Hey, Mark. Hey, Musa. Thumbs up if you're having a good school day so far. I'm having a good school day. Megan, having a good school day? Jed, whatever. Mark, I figured, no, let's see. I see someone's dog. I don't know whose dog. Is that Moose's dog? All right. Hey, Evan. How's it going, bud? Remember, we're doing the same thing with this class as we did with history. Everyone's muted, so you can only hear me. There's Caleb's dog. Rusty's getting an education. Who is that in the background? Is that Calvin? Calvin, aren't you supposed to be in class, bud? Okay. All right. I'll give it, let me see. Let's see who is here. Remember, guys, I want you to sign in with your right names, please, so I know who you are. Okay, so let me see. I'm just getting all of our, hey, Philip, how's it going? Okay, let me make sure everyone's here. We said everybody here that we had for history. Hey, Kathleen. Good afternoon. Let's see, I'm just taking a quick roll. This is not going to be a very long class. Let's see, hey, Avel. Some of you guys on a normal day would just be waking up about now. So you've already done several classes. You've been accomplished. Ngozi. Let's see, do we have both Nicks? I don't see either Nick right now. Hey, Gustavo. Ngozi. Arthur's on with us. I've not seen Kalebi all morning. Oh, hand sanitizer, you're keeping safe. Gustavo, well, you've got a big one. We need to come over and visit you. And Lysol, you're good to go, Gustavo. Good for you. I have never breathed so much Lysol in my whole life. My insides are clean. That's for sure. So Gustavo, Jed, Abel, you're here. Nick, where is Nick? There's Nick. One Nick I have. Where's the other Nick? I don't see the other Nick. Let's see. Evan's with us and Ashley. Excellent. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, let me kind of tell you what we're doing. Put your thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. Can everybody hear me? Abel, can you hear me? Everyone can hear me. Okay, good. All right. We are going to, I've enabled the chat. So again, just like we did history, if you have a question, put it in the chat. If it pertains to what I'm talking about, I'll answer it then and there. If not, I'll wait till the end of the class period to answer it. I do want to say at the end of history, a question came through and I didn't quite get to it. It was you didn't have your geography project book with you. So one of you said you weren't sure if you had it. I will upload a picture of the geography project, 15 pages. So if you don't happen to have your book with you, I'll upload that to the assignment. So I'm going to send that document in ThinkWave for that. So, okay, let me explain what we're doing real quick. 7th graders, you know all about study skills. We've been doing study skills since the beginning of the year. 8th graders, we have not done study skills. What this is doing, it's replacing your keyboard class for right now. Obviously, we can't do keyboarding. Evan, you should be excited about that because Jed, you should not unmute yourself. Are you unmuting yourself? Don't. How are you able to unmute yourself? Let me see. We should not be. Let me see. I'm going to mute you, Gustavo. What? Okay, I'm muting everybody. Mark, I'm muting you. Let's see. Mute. Do not unmute yourself. For whatever reason, it didn't carry over. Oh, do not unmute yourself. Right now, everybody should be muted, except Avel. Avel, I'm muting you. Again, I like the mute and unmute button. As a parent, I wish I'd had a mute and unmute button a long time ago. But anyway, okay, real quick. Hey, Nick. All right, real quick. This class is only from 12 to 12:30, Monday and Wednesday only. Good for you guys. Hopefully we'll be out of here early today so you can have a longer lunch. After this is your lunch period, then you guys come back at 1, and I think you have another class at 2. So real quick, again, 7th graders, we're used to study skills. 8th graders, not so much. So we are starting a unit on listening, which I think is perfect for what we're going through. It's going to be very low key, not going to be a whole lot of information that you're going to have to give back to me in the sense of quizzes and tests. It'll all be homework. There'll be several homework assignments. You will have a homework assignment that will be due next Monday. It's already on ThinkWave. Nothing's due this week. Very low key. I'm just trying to help you guys out during this time. Again, 7th graders, you're used to. We were in the middle of taking tests, which is kind of out the window at this point because we're not taking tests the same way we were. But listening, I think, is going to be good for you guys. Nick asked me, does 8th grader have class at 1? Yes, Nick, you do. 8th graders, let me look at my schedule here, at 1 o'clock. 8th graders, you have math class with Mrs. Caceres. 7th graders, that's your time to do any homework, study, whatever. So actually, 8th graders, you can have a longer lunch, obviously, on Mondays or every day. And then 8th graders, you have math with Mrs. Caceres. And then at 2 o'clock, Earth and Space for you guys. You guys end your day with science, just like you ended your day kind of when we were in school. So anyway, all right. Again, like I said, our unit we're doing with study skills is called listening. And listening is going to be huge at this point. It's going to be a hard thing for us as teachers to make sure you're doing because we're not there telling you, get your head off your desk, open your eyes, sit still, stop putting the pencils in your mouth, all of that stuff. We as teachers can't really control whether you're listening or not. Only you can do that at this point. Some of you guys have your parents at home with you. They might be able to help you listen better at this. But again, we're working in really challenging times. So listening, so do your best. You're going to have to just work hard. But let's talk a little bit about listening. Again, I'm only going to keep you here for about 5 or 10 minutes today. Then we'll get off. You can have a longer lunch break. 7th graders, you can even have an even longer time than that because you don't have, your math class was earlier today with Mrs. Caceres. 8th graders, you do have math with Mrs. Caceres. So let's talk about listening for a minute. Listening in what we're doing now, if you don't listen to your lectures your teachers are giving, listen to your instructions, you're actually going to hurt yourself more so now than you did earlier. If you were in class with me on a normal class day, let's say 3 weeks ago when we were in normal class days, if you didn't listen in class and you didn't hear what your homework was, or you didn't listen in class and get a worksheet filled out, well, you could come back to me or any other teacher at the end of the day and say, Mrs. Kidd, I need your help, I didn't get this. Or I don't know what the assignment is. Can you help me? Or I always had assignments written on the board. Mr. Taylor has assignments written on the board. All of that stuff goes away now, unfortunately. So what we need to do is make sure when we are online together, you are listening. Now, is it going to be harder to listen online than it is in class? Thumbs up if you think yes, thumbs down if you think no. Yes, it's going to be much harder because here's the deal. I sit and watch, let's say I'm watching our church service online. It's only a 15, 20 minute, 25 minute sermon, but I'm distracted. I want to get on my phone. I'm distracted by watching who's walking down my street outside. I'm distracted by whatever's happening. And you guys too. You guys, most of you all are home with your moms or your dads or both your moms and dads or definitely your younger siblings. Then so it's going to be a distraction for you all. And I can even look now. You guys, some of you are coming in the screens, some of you guys going off screen. So there's going to be distractions. So you have got to purpose right now to listen that much more in your classes. Again, study skills, the whole reason we do study skills is to help you individually. I can give you all the tools you need, but unless you put them in practice, you're not going to be able to do them for yourself. So real quick, let's talk about listening. There is a study out that says we spend approximately 70% of our waking hours communicating. That means out of a 10, let's say you're awake for, I don't know, this is not a accurate number. Let's say you're awake for 10 hours a day. Obviously, you're awake for longer than that, but let's say you're only awake for 10 hours a day. That means 7 of the 10 hours you are communicating somehow, whether you're talking, whether you're listening, whether you're engaged in conversation, whatever you're doing, you are communicating. Most of how you communicate is it's a two-way street. You're talking, someone's listening there, and then you're listening as they're talking. It's a two-way street. You probably have communicated more with your moms and dads in the last 2 weeks than some of you may normally communicate. I know for me, well, for all of you guys, we're not going anywhere. We're in our home. So unless you're talking to the wall, you're talking to somebody in your house. So we're having to communicate maybe a little more differently now, a lot more just quantity, and we want to make sure our quality is still good. So anyway, so our listening, so both skills are essential to effective communication. If I'm going to give you what you need to further your education, to continue moving forward, then I need to be able to communicate effectively. I need to speak effectively. I need to explain things a little bit better. Again, I can't, if I'm in history class with you all, or even in study skills class, or any class, if I can a lot of times gauge whether you're getting it or not, and I can explain more. I can ask questions. Hey, do you understand what this word means? Or hey, do you get that concept? When we're doing this online, I don't know if you're getting it or not. You may completely understand it. You may not. So I have to learn to communicate my speaking ability that much more effectively. And you all listening to me have to communicate, have to fine tune that skill as well. Your listening skill. Hey, Clevy, I see that you're on. How are you? So we have got to learn how to maybe change how we're doing our listening. Listen on purpose. Remember 7th graders when we were finishing up or still doing our lesson on test taking and we did our PQRS method and you had to write on your paper, I read with purpose. Remember we talked about reading with purpose, how reading with an outcome, reading deliberately. That's what we're going to have to do here with listening. We're going to have to listen deliberately. We're going to have to cut out distractions. I know Mark was sitting here. He's got Calvin in the background potentially distracting him. Caleb might have Rusty distracting him. Moose's dog may be distracting him. Gustavo is trying to sell hand sanitizer. That could be a distraction. He's got his little baby sister at home. She's going to be a distraction. So we have to learn to listen purposefully. So, and that's going to be tough. And I guarantee you, if you learn to listen purposefully, it's going to better every aspect of your life, not just your education side of it. So let's see. I want to leave you with this, and we're going to get off in just a few minutes. Again, I'm not keeping you long today. If you want to succeed as a student, especially this quarter, you've got to learn to be a good listener. Again, my communication with you is going to be limited. Your communication with any of your teachers are going to be limited just because we're not physically with each other. I know when my kids first went away to college, and then I had to learn how to communicate differently with them when I wasn't around them every day, when I didn't hear them or come home from school and sit down at the dinner table and tell me all about their day. And that's kind of what we're feeling as teachers right now. I don't get the chance to talk with you at lunch. I don't get the chance to sit down and with you for 10 minutes before homeroom happens and hear how your night was, or talk about the basketball game you played the night before. I don't get to do all of that anymore. I only get to see you guys and I get to hear your chatting and I hear things like that, but I don't get to have that interaction. So in order for us to be successful in what we're doing is we're going to have to learn how to listen much better than we probably have ever listened before. And again, this is a skill that's only going to help you whether whenever we go back in the classroom, which I don't know, maybe we'll end up part of our school year back in the classroom. That's my prayer. If for some reason we don't, then we'll carry this skill into next school year. So, okay, I'm going to leave us with that. Again, study skills is only Monday and Wednesday at noon. It's only for 30-minute class. You still have to look on ThinkWave, where everything is with your assignments. You have to look on ThinkWave. For 7th graders, it's going to be in your study skills class. For 8th graders, it's going to be under keyboarding 2. We have not combined the classes yet into one big study skills class. So keyboarding 2 is where you're looking for your assignments, 8th graders. 7th graders, you're looking on your study skills class for your assignments. So I'm going to leave it at that. Your lunch period's coming up. Those of you, let's see, 1 o'clock, 8th graders, you need to come back on with Mrs. Caceres. So make sure that you have, I have got to work on this mute. I had something went wrong. So anyway, okay. So 8th graders, Mrs. Caceres at 1, 7th graders, your next scheduled class is going to be 2 o'clock with Mr. Taylor for science. Remember, I said this morning, Ashley, you're getting your books taken care of for you. Evan and Ngozi, we have some of your science books here at school. They were left in the gym. Your lab books and stuff. So you might want to schedule a time based on what's happening to try to come to the school and pick that up. So, okay, guys, it's great seeing you guys. I'm glad you were all on. I will see you tomorrow morning at 9 for history, and I will see you at noon on Wednesday for study skills. Have a good afternoon. See you guys. I am ending the meeting. Bye, guys. Goodbye. I hit.